Will's here with the business then. Quite a serious story at the beginning, a serious incident with one of Boeing's new Dreamliner aircraft in Japan, Will.
Yeah, a 787 has made an emergency landing in Takamatsu. It was diverted from Tokyo, with passengers having to make an emergency exit when they hit the ground. An issue with the batteries, apparently, could have resulted in an accident, according to the Transport Minister. And it's not the first time that the Dreamliner has had serious problems. Let's take a look at some of the details with Rochelle Ferguson.
Wednesday's emergency landing spelled yet more trouble for the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. All Nippon Airways said details of the problem are still being checked, but the incident is the latest in a series of technical faults for the Boeing. On Tuesday, even before the incident, Japan's Transport Minister promised to investigate.
We plan to look into the scale of these accidents and what the overall situation is. We will convey the message to those who operate the plane that it's absolutely necessary to be safe.
ANA 787s have encountered several problems in the past 2 weeks, though no injuries have been reported. On January the 7th, there was a fire aboard an empty Japan Airlines 787 Dreamliner. On the 8th, another JA 787 to Tokyo was grounded in Boston. And on the 9th, ANA cancelled a Dreamliner flight due to brake problems. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner was hailed as a milestone in the aviation industry. Its lightweight composite materials, electronics and impressive fuel efficiency made it revolutionary in aircraft design. Boeing's finances are already under threat due to exceeding its budget and being over 3 years behind schedule in delivering its Dreamliner planes. Shares for Dreamliner suppliers in Japan came under pressure on Wednesday. Fuji and Mitsubishi Heavy Industries were two companies which recorded a decline of between 1.6 and 4.2%. ANA shares slipped by 1.62%. On Friday, the US Aviation Authority, the FAA, announced an in-depth safety review of the 787's design. The Indian aviation regulator is set to follow suit.
And earlier I spoke to our Tokyo correspondent Gavin Blair. He told us about the likely impact this will have on Japan's airlines.
This will have a major effect on Japan's two major carriers, JAL and ANA. JAL, the former national carrier, had only emerged from bankruptcy protection less than a year ago. Both airlines were then hit with the aftermath of the 2011 triple disasters, which saw a huge drop-off in travel to Japan. Then again last year, the territorial dispute with China saw a great deal of cancelled flights between those two countries. ANA in particular, this is a huge setback for them. They were the launch customer of this plane, and they were involved right back to the design stage. And in fact, a third of the parts for the plane were actually developed by Japanese companies. And ANA had predicted that it was going to save more than $110 million on fuel. This was supposed to be the most efficient plane in the sky in its first year of operation. However, this looks more likely that it's going to now cost them money.
That's Gavin Blair in Tokyo. What about the markets? How are they faring?
Well, let's take a look at how things are opening up in Europe, and they're all down at the start of trading. That's following on from a pretty negative session on the Asian markets. As you can see, if we take a look at them as well, they're all much more firmly down, actually. Maybe we'll be seeing some further action in Europe later on. But certainly the Nikkei was in firm negative territory. That's after the yen added some value, which is obviously not so good for the exporters. The Nikkei, though, was yesterday at its highest since April 2010, so I suppose the only way was down, really.
Now, we haven't spoken about the European car industry for at least a couple of days, so we'll put it right. More bad news, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you saw that coming, didn't you? I mean, it's inevitable, really. Figures just out for the whole of 2012 for the EU as a whole, showing the biggest year-on-year drop since 1993, 8.2% for the whole of 2012. Sales were down, and in December, they were down 16%, the 15th month running that sales have dropped. Now, Renault has already been making moves. It says it's going to cut 7,500 jobs between now and 2016. Unlike Peugeot Citroën, which is closing a factory near Paris, it hopes to do this mainly by natural wastage, just not replacing people who are already leaving. But you can see why. I mean, this is up until November 2012, but you can see the drop in sales that has been experienced over just the last couple of years. Now, Renault boss Carlos Ghosn, he's currently at the Detroit Motor Show. He said he's looking for an agreement with French unions, which will make them more competitive.
What we want is a win-win agreement in which the company ends up being more competitive and by doing so attracts more work. especially within our operations in France.
Now, all this week, we're looking at the issue of youth unemployment, one of the biggest challenges facing the Eurozone. Today, we're going to look at Ireland. Now, they aren't doing quite so badly as some of their Eurozone neighbours when it comes to unemployment levels, but critics say maybe that's only because so many young people have emigrated. Some of them are now starting to come back, but it's still very difficult to find work, as Hervé Amérique and Stuart Lamb report.
In Ireland, 30% of young people under 26 are signing on for job seekers' benefit. Connell graduated in graphics design 2 years ago, but he still can't find work. Spent a year in New Zealand, but now he's back.
Friends were starting to get work, and I thought, well, maybe there's a turnaround in the economy, maybe I'll be a bit luckier this time. So I came back to Ireland, but it has actually been the same story. I've been trying to find work and haven't been successful yet, but I'm going to keep trying.
Since last summer, he has been knocking on many doors, offering his services for free.
Ideally, I would like to get some experience in the field that I'm qualified in. This is the goal for me, because while there may not be jobs out there right now, in the future there will be, and I want to have that little bit of experience to maybe give me a little bit of an edge.
Today, Connell is again looking for a work placement. The Irish government has been criticised by employers for not doing enough to provide professional training.
I think the government could make an effort to provide incentives for companies like ourselves to help people get work experience and offer them training.
Like Connell, Kevin studied graphics and 3D animation, but he works as a receptionist in a hostel.
I feel my degree is being wasted. Then again, out of my class, out of the 30 people in my class, only around half have gotten work in multimedia, whereas me, I don't have a job in the multimedia yet, but I am very fortunate to even have a job in the current economic climate.
Ireland's trade and economy may be improving, but with the government's austerity plan, few jobs are being created.
Now, finally, some bad news in the UK, where austerity measures are even affecting the beer.
I'm afraid to say that a pint of John Smith's, one of the most popular bitters in the UK, is going down from 3.8% strength to 3.6%. And that's not all, they're still putting up the prices. And they say it's partly down to taxes. Taxes, of course, continue to go up every year above inflation rates. That's to discourage drinking partly. But bad news for drinkers in the UK.
Not too good. All right, well, thank you very much. Just before I disappear, we've just been getting some breaking news of a helicopter crashing near a railway station in central London. That's according to witnesses. We're also getting confirmation from London's fire brigade saying it's responding to reports of that crash. The latest information we have is that it's happened near Vauxhall Station, which is quite near Waterloo in the South Bank, just right in the centre of London there. So reports coming in of a helicopter crash at Vauxhall Station, right in the centre of London. That's the latest for now. More coming up. Lorna will be here after the break. Stay with us if you can.